Hello and welcome to another Doctor's Assistant 1 video. Today I'm doing a review of the Doctor Who comic Origins question mark, I think is what it's called. Very odd. I don't think there's been a Doctor Who comic by Titans that's had the title at the bottom there. I don't think. Comment below if I'm completely wrong about that. It's cover A, Titan Comics issue 1. Yeah, Joe Martin, Weeping Angel, kind of coming out of like stained glass, which looks really cool. Thinking about it, I haven't probably talked about one of the covers, I don't think, in terms of comics a lot in a long time. Maybe because last few ones have not been that standout, I don't know. But then you've got a load of quotes and stuff on the back. You've got the cover for the next issue, as well as some other bits on this side, as well as the reader guide, which again, as I so often say in these reviews, I'd love like a big poster version of this to have on a wall or something, you know, like framed and that, or just, as I say, blue tack to the wall, you know. You've got 13th, 12th, 11th, 10th, 9th Doctors, and then the classic series stuff, as well as some sort of like Doctor Who comics, or like comic events and or like big event ones. You've got the variant covers for the for this issue, and I quite like that cover or variant cover. Not gonna lie. You've also got like an advert for the 10th and Martha comic coming in October. Yeah, on sale October. You've got a little bio here of who the Fugitive Doctor is and what the TARDIS is. You've got the Titan Comics website, Twitter and Facebook to give them any feedback. On this page you've got the writer, artist, colorist, letterist, group editor, art director, all listed here. And then the rest of the comic. Yeah, it's a decent one. I mean, I like how it sort of starts as like just in the midst of a fun sort of mission. You know, this feels like a pre-title sequence, I guess. You know, actiony, but not very too heavy-handed, I guess. You've got like this Weeping Angel sort of thing, and then it kind of leads into the rest of the story. I quite like the design of this one Time Lord character, who I think is a Time Lord. I assume he's a Time Lord because he's got that sort of air about him, and I like how he's drawn. I like how this character's drawn as well, and kind of tags along with the Fugitive Doctor, although it is a little bit confusing because there's no real... This is the setup with this character, I guess. You know, I don't think she's been introduced anywhere else. This is her introduction. And yeah, the Division people in this story, spoiler alert. And you've also got the little Genesis arc like thing, which is really cool. Little sort of callback to series 2 of Doctor Who. You've got these like really nice wide panel shots of the Hartnell-esque TARDIS, which I actually quite like drawn like that. And yeah, I'm trying to think, we won't really have seen the Hartnell TARDIS that much in panels and in comics, I don't think. I could be wrong about that, of course. I like these panels and the art and the shots, sort of the way they've framed it here. What was I going to say? Where, you know, she's kind of doing a thing whilst talking, and it's kind of like whipping back and forth between the Fugitive Doctor doing a thing and then them talking and that, which then leads into something else happening later on, which is kind of... It gives me kind of Moffat-y, Stephen Moffat-y sort of thing, you know, like the Dr. Falls sort of thing of like, you know, oh, you were looking there, but I was actually over here, you know, messing around with the computer. You should have been looking at me whilst you were too busy being high-fiving and focusing on something else, you know. And then, yeah, you've got like her snippy sort of character with a gun, or with like a fugitive sort of gun. sort of thing. It's kind of interesting how this version, this particular interpretation of the Fugitive Doctor seems like she's a little bit more level-headed, whereas the sort of companion character here seems to be someone who's a bit more sort of snippy and a bit more angry, for lack of a better term. Whereas, like, in the show, at least in her first episode, the Fugitive Doctor in Fugitive of the Jadoon, the Jo Martin Ruth Doctor / Fugitive Doctor is quite snippy and quite sort of short-tempered and snippy and sort of, what's the right word, quite short-tempered with Jodie's Doctor. But here, I feel like Jo Martin's Fugitive Doctor is more like Jodie's Doctor a little bit more. Or just like the Doctor a little bit more, and the companion is kind of more the sort of, I need to keep tabs on you, I need to sort of, we need to do this by the book, by the rule book and the way that the Academy do things. And I think that's also quite interesting, the idea that this character, this side character with the Fugitive Doctor is not someone who's universe sort of experienced the universe, whereas even as early as the Fugitive, this version of a Fugitive Doctor, or not a Fugitive Doctor, this version of a Division Doctor / agent character, whatever, pre-Hartnell Doctor, is more experienced already than this other character, which I think is kind of fascinating because, you know, obviously every other Doctor after Hartnell, or after the Fugitive Doctor, Hartnell onwards, would be even more experienced and be, well, not otherworldly, but universally experienced, or highly experienced of the universe. So yeah, what else was I going to say? Yeah, it's a good read. It's a good comic. I'd really recommend this one. It's a good start. It ends in a very interesting way, and I'm very eager to read the next issue, which, I'll be honest, I can't really say the same thing for the previous comic run of stories, which was like Rose Empire or whatever. Yeah, I read issue 1 and 2 of that, and I still haven't read the next 2 issues, because, yeah, just clearly not that enthralled with that story and where that's going. So yeah, whereas this one's quite a bit more interesting, in my humble opinion. Obviously, it's just my opinion. It could be you read this first issue and think, wow, that was absolutely dreadful. Hopefully that isn't the case. And hopefully if you watch this, hopefully you'll also enjoy this issue of Doctor Who comic, or this issue of a Doctor Who comic, and is start of a new run, so it's a good jumping on point. As I say, if you're a big sort of Chibnall era fan, then this feels very sort of it's using one of his characters from his run, so I don't see why people who have been growing up with the Whittaker era wouldn't like this sort of this comic. But yeah, I'd recommend it. Thanks for watching. Please do comment, rate and subscribe to the channel.